Out of the Bible's 66 books, Job has some particularly unique features. For example, apart from Genesis 1 to 11, it is probably the Bible's oldest book. It also contains more references to creation, the flood, and other primeval events than any other book of the Bible except Genesis, and also seems to contain more modern scientific insights than any other book of the Bible. Some scholars and scientists even think it may contain a reference to the Ice Age. It is true that Job has more mentions of snow, ice, and cold than any of the other biblical books. For instance, in what could be an allusion to the Ice Age, Job chapter 38 verses 29 and 30 says, "From whose womb comes the ice? And the frost of heaven, who gives it birth? The waters harden like stone, and the surface of the deep is frozen." As Dr. Hembree Morris commented, this unusual picture of a sheet of ice slowly coming forward, as if emerging from a womb, may well refer to the ice sheet of the Great Ice Age that covered the northern latitudes for many centuries following the flood. Whether this be a reference to the Ice Age or not, the events recorded in this book would have been almost certainly contemporaneous with this great freeze. Although most secular scientists believe that there have been 30 or more ice ages over many millions of years, early biblical history provides a very different and more satisfactory view. One reason for this is because while mainstream science has no viable starting mechanism to explain even one ice age, let alone 30, the Bible does. As meteorologist Michael Ord points out, to cause an ice age, rare conditions are required: warm oceans for high precipitation, and cool summers for lack of melting the snow. Interestingly, as Hembree Morris already alluded to, the climactic conditions following the Genesis flood provided these exact conditions. For instance, during the deluge there were underwater volcanic eruptions, as indicated by the bursting forth of the fountains of the great deep in Genesis chapter 7 verse 11. As the crust of the earth broke open, hot water and lava released into the oceans, making the post-flood ocean waters warm from pole to pole. On top of this, for several years after the flood, there would have been large amounts of volcanic activity, sending dust and debris into the atmosphere. These volcanic particles would reflect some of the sun's light back into space, causing cooler summers. As far as the length of this biblical ice age is concerned, according to the best estimates, it would have reached its peak 500 years after the flood, and would have fully melted 200 years later, making it a total of 700 years. If so, it means the Ice Age lasted from roughly 2350 to 1650 BC. Interestingly, many scholars date Job's life to within this very time span. While this doesn't automatically mean that Job 38, 29, and 30 is a reference to the Ice Age, the timing does at least make it conceivable.